Welcome to BackRoomConvo with Lesego M. This week's guest is Motheo Mokoto. She is Missworldsouthafrica quarterfinalist, not a quarterfinalist, but a semi-finalist. So I've had a conversation with Motheo on Monday, I think, and we got to chop it up on the session call that we had. I think she's a very interesting individual, and it's an honor to have this part of our guest in this week's episode. How are you, Motheo?
I'm good, thanks. And you, what a lovely introduction. Thank you so much. You speak so highly of me. I appreciate that.
Pleasure. So, on today's episode, I just want to let people know that some of the questions that will be asked, you and the listeners to know that some of the questions that we'll be asking you, it's both from myself and some of them are from the listeners of the podcast. So I will just keep going back and forth in some of the questions, but they have more questions. I think they have more questions, so we'll try and cover more of the questions they have about you, and I'll just fill in some of the ones that I think maybe they're necessary to ask.
No problem. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Okay. So just tell us a bit. Give us a background of who Motheo is. Where you grew up, because I do know for sure that you grew up in Northwest.
Yeah.
So yeah. So for people who don't know that about you, can you just please give us the background about yourself?
Cool. So like Lesego said, my name is Motheo Mokoto. I am 24 years. I am from Mafikeng in the Northwest, rather Mafikeng in the Northwest. I was raised by my mother, my grandmother, my godmother. So I come from a very matriarchal home and background. I work as a UX designer at one of South Africa's biggest telecommunications companies. And I'm really just a girl. My favorite color is pink. I enjoy doing puzzles. I enjoy learning, engaging. And one fun fact about me is I'm currently learning how to sew. Yeah.
How to sew.
How to sew.
Get it. So, this is some of the questions that I'll keep on asking. These are off topic. So, I noticed it's a thing that people, don't call Mafikeng, but they call it Mafikeng. Especially people from Joburg, they're like, you're from Mafikeng instead of Mafikeng. Is it a common thing that you also have that side of it? Yeah.
It was Mafikeng in the beginning. I think when the town was first named, it was Mafikeng, and then they changed it to Mafikeng. And then just to kind of commemorate our history, I think they changed it back to Mafikeng. But it's kind of hard, when you're used to something. It's kind of hard to change. That's why I will alternate between Mafikeng and Mafikeng. So the nickname for it is Muff Town. You can't really say Ma Town, so that's why I really still stuck. Yeah.
No, I get you. So I do know now that you currently reside in Joburg, So this is the question from one of the listeners who says, how did growing up in Northwest region influence your perspective on life? That was a question from one of our listeners here.
That's a very interesting question. I think Northwest really taught me how to be humble and how to respect not just myself but my surroundings as well. It's one of down to earth people who have a lot of reverence for elders and culture and customs, as well as family, And I think one other thing that really changed my perspective of who I am, impacted who I am now.
Yeah.
How other people don't really enforce gender norms like men, women, there's no in here that patriarchy. And I think that's one thing that really impacted who I am today, as feminist, I'd say. So that's how that that impacted me. Yeah. And also coming from like a matriarchal home, growing up with women, who are women, really impacted me.
Yeah. So I just heard that you just mentioned something about feminism, and I just wanted to touch that because I think it's something that I feel that maybe we can discuss if you're open to that. So like, what's your take? Like, I think the term feminism is just overly used even in places where it's not applicable. Yes. So perfect example, I was looking at I don't know if you had a chance to look at a documentary by Matt Walsh. It's the title of the documentary, I think it's what is a woman, and it really touched on a lot of things, concerning feminism and how it's been overly used, and how like some people are just taking advantage of, and I don't know, from someone who clearly is a feminist, like have some of these things that reached you and you're like, but then that one's not the one?
For me, I think feminism is just equality for all. Feminism really speaks to just all of us being treated fairly. It's fairness, whether you're a man, you're a woman, you're non-binary. It really speaks to fairness for everyone. I don't really what would I say? I don't really condone anything else that's usually misconstrued. I mean, it is quite like a hot topic to say you're a feminist, because a lot of times you can be misconstrued with people who are like, men are like terrible, they should just be providers, that kind of something that I apply to. I just apply to feminism. I mean, something that I know is quite rife is GBV. A lot of people think GBV is just centered around like women and the assault they experience, but as a feminist rather, when you speak about gender-based violence, you're not speaking about women specifically. Gender, it includes all genders, it includes non-gender conforming people. So my feminism really speaks to everyone. It doesn't exclude anyone. It includes my brothers, my sisters, my aunts, my uncles, my father, my mother. It's really a holistic thing. But I do know that it does kind of get misconstrued with like a lot of like new age politics, like men must be polite, men must do this, men must go to war and all of that. But you kind of just have to find your own balance, in your own pocket.
So do you think maybe there's something maybe the society can do to just like take some of like the things that come as stigmas of feminism?
Not really. It's kind of hard, because what the women in the past were actually doing, like if you take Women's Day for example, those women were feminists. They didn't really, yes, they were fighting for their own like rights and all of that, but that trickled down to the rights of the men of that time. So I think now, because we don't actually have like we don't have to physically fight for our rights, with social media and racism that isn't like really rife and in your face. There's no proper like, let's all go as women and fight. It's really just day-to-day nuances that you are fighting for. That's why I think it could get misconstrued. I don't know how else we could tackle it, honestly. But propaganda is one thing that also like tries to taint, efforts of anybody. We've seen that with wokeness. Wokeness has been turned into something that's derogatory and all of that. It's almost like a slur now, whereas wokeness was used in the beginning as just people who are having an awakening and realizing like actually Black people have always had power. They've always been intelligent, they've always been capable, they have always fought for each other. If they've, done amazing things, but it's been misconstrued where if you're saying, oh no guys, let's just have a gender neutral bathroom, then people are saying, oh no, you're too woke. It's almost like a slur to be woke, whereas it didn't that way. So I think a lot of that comes with propaganda and just like the globalization that social media has caused. Everybody has access to everything. We are speaking to 17-year-olds who don't really have a great understanding or context of certain things, so they take it overboard. We have access to 40-year-olds who are stuck in their ways, who don't really, you can't really teach an old dog new tricks. So they're stuck in their ways, they're misconstruing things. So it's kind of hard age technology. Yeah.
True. Okay. I hear you. I love the answer. And you know what? The guys in studio, one of the guys in studio by the name of Israel, she says she's well spoken. I just had to share that with you. So pleasure. So I just wanted to touch, because I do know that there was a time that you had to move from Mafikeng, Northwest, to Cape Town to pursue some studies in the Western Cape Town. Can you please share with us some of the fondest memories you have of your time being in the Western Cape?
Oh my gosh. I'd like to start off by saying Cape Town is such a beautiful place. Like,
right?
That place is so breathtaking. It's such a fresh breath air. Like the scenery, the landscapes, the sea. Like, I go to Cape Town and each and every time I'm blown away. So there's a lot of memories that I have. But I think the fondest ones was originally I actually wasn't supposed to go and study in Cape Town. It was just my brother who was supposed to go. So when he went to go meet the principal, we went to the school and I was just breathtaking. Like, I was just so mesmerized by because it overlooked the Atlantic Ocean. And I told my mom, I was like, I really want to come here. Like, I really want to be here. I'm so jealous of my little brother. And he was going to grade 1. Imagine. But it was so beautiful. I saw myself there. So that's one very treasured memory I have of Cape Town. And also in the beginning, we really didn't know what was going on in Cape Town. Like, we were still trying to find our bearings. So we'd get lost often. But one thing that my mom did say to us was walk. Like, if you're walking and exploring a place, if you're trying to explore a place, just walk, because then you're able to find your bearings easier. When you're traveling with the car, you miss a lot of things. You miss a lot of nuances of the city and the place that you visit. But when you're walking, you get to interact with the place on your feet, So just walking around Cape Town, man, that place is so beautiful. Walking around the city center, I know that place the back of my hand. It is so beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. And I wanted to touch before. I think we are about to go to an ad break, but I'll just ask one question from one of our listeners. She says, how has living in Joburg shaped your personal and professional growth?
Wow, that is a mouthful. My personal growth, I think it's really expanded my independence. When I was in Cape Town, I was with family. I moved there with family. Even when I was in Motheo, I was with family. I was still living at home. Some sort of independence, but not entirely. Coming to Joburg, I do have family around, but I'm living on my own, I have to do my own cooking. I have to make sure that my environment is clean. So it's really just expanded my independence. As a firstborn, you are independent, but living alone just changes that perspective or type of independence.
Yeah.
So I think my independence. And then what was the second part of the question?
Professional growth.
Ooh. Working is such a humbling experience because the workplace is filled with different types of people, different ages, different backgrounds, different cultures, different races. So it's really just sharpened my idea of what multiple perspectives is, and just having empathy to each and every person. You know, I am working with like people who have children, who are married, and I'm just here, I'm just the girl, you know,
Yeah.
place. So really trying to find commonalities between me and, you know, this 40-year-old that I work with, trying to ensure that my lingo, they understand it. That's something that's really like broadened my I don't know what the word is, but yeah, that's another thing. Multiple. It's sharpened how I view people. Yeah. Yeah.
I hear you. So for people who just joined us on the line, we have Motheo Mokoto. She is Miss World South Africa semi-final. What do I keep saying? Quarterfinalist, semi-final.
Listen, I'm a semi-finalist.
Yeah, I'm like, why do I keep on going back? I mean, like, she is a semi-finalist. You know, we've had her for the past 16 minutes and been having a back and forth as far as like Q&As that you guys had for her, and we added a bit of spice by adding my questions, obviously. So we're going to an ad break. When we come back, we'll be asking Motheo more of the questions that you guys had for her. So let's meet after the break. Welcome back to BackRoomConvo with Lesego M. On the line, we have Motheo Mokoto. She is World South Africa semi-finalist, and we've had, yeah. So we've had her for the past 16 minutes, and we've been going through the Q&As, and you know, she's doing good so far. So we'll be taking some of the questions, and for some of you who haven't subscribed, can you please go to your podcast outlets, leave a follow, leave a comment, tell us what you think on every episode so we can also improve on some of those, and really tell us if you really want to see us on the YouTube platform, because you know, you never really asked if people wanted a video podcast. I know like there's a few people who've said you need to get it, but like, what's your perspective on that again? So Motheo, welcome back again.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so the question, I'll just dive straight into the question. So the questions, this is leaning more towards the pageantry, and like, it's interesting. Okay. The question goes as follows. Can you tell us a bit about your background and how it has influenced your journey in pageantry, in the world of pageantry?
Interesting. So like I mentioned earlier, I'm just a girl from humble Mafikeng. And, you know, in Mafikeng, there's not a lot of activities. So there is a really big pageantry culture there, and girls, you know, entertained off the streets and all of that. I think the reason why I joined pageantry was because I think I needed to just be a little bit more confident. So that's what really influenced me entering. And that's one thing that I really tell other contestants, because I have hosted certain pageants. I tell them, I'm like, guys, just smile, enjoy your time on stage, just be yourself, you know. The people here are here to watch you, so don't be stressed that you're messing up or saying the wrong thing. It's really just about the confidence that you have, you know, training your mind to say, hey, I've got this. And then actually showing that, you know, you really do got this, not doubting yourself. So I think my confidence is one thing that has really pushed me in this pageantry journey.
No, I hear you. So like, I just want to know, like, what are some of the things that inspired you to enter the Miss World South Africa competition?
I entered the Miss World South Africa because I didn't go through for Miss SA, and that is like a big pageant that, you know, I resonate with the messaging of this essay, which is women empowerment, empowering yourself to empower others. And I think Miss World South Africa also has the same messaging, but it's more so empowering yourself to empower your community. And this speaks mostly to the Beauty with a Purpose campaign. Yes, you are beautiful, but what are you doing with your beauty to help others around you? Your beauty could be like a resource that you could use to help others. So that's really why I think Miss World spoke to me, because of the purpose campaigns that they have. I'm already doing my own like community outreach things. So my platform is really just something that will elevate that, it will amplify my message outside of just my immediate community, but nationally or provincially. But yeah, that's why I joined.
So like, can you tell us a bit about how has this impacted your a big? Do we have load shedding? We just got into load shedding. Yeah. So straight into the next question. How has being a semi-finalist in the Miss World South Africa pageant impacted your life so far?
It is such a huge thing because, after this pageant, you go to the actual Miss World, and like people like Olin Strauss have gone there, people like Shudu have gone there. So it's a huge, huge thing, even just being a semi-finalist, I think more than anything for me, it's really just affirmed my capabilities, because I am capable, I do have what it takes to be a Miss World. And it's really affirmed that for me. And it's really changed how I speak to myself or about myself, and like the intent I have when doing something. I'm not just doing like, okay, I entered Miss World, like, oh, let me enter Miss World because there's, a Miss World pageant. But like actually making it through really just shows you that, like, in like whatever you're doing, it's a stepping stone of like your dreams. So I think it's really affirmed my capabilities. Yeah.
So like, what are some of the qualities do you think set you apart from the other contestants in the competition?
I want to say my authenticity. I just bring Motheo Mokoto to the table, and I don't think anybody could do that because I am the only one. But I think the other thing that I'm bringing is like just furthering, let's say, a community outreach program, furthering the needle, pushing it further. Yes. We can donate, but what are we doing that will create a long-term effect? What are we doing that will be sustainable for the community is what I think. What I am bringing, not what I think I'm bringing, what I am bringing. So, for example, my Beauty with a Purpose campaign really speaks to destigmatizing menstruation and menstrual health and such. And in the past, people have donated pads to, underprivileged communities or communities. But I'm furthering the needle by not only donating pads, but also equipping those with the relevant information. It's not just about donating it, but it's also about like making sure that these people know what kind of resources they have, making sure that they have the necessary skills to ensure that their hygiene is kept. Just making sure that they know that, what else? I'm just furthering the needle. I'm doing something that hasn't been done. And I'm making sure that thing will have a long-term effect. The knowledge that I'm sharing can be shared with not only those students, but like their siblings, their nieces, it's something that you take with you. So yeah, that's my unique selling point.
Yeah, so like, so speaking about pets and stuff, I do know that, after our last conversation, you did mention that we have a huge what you call those? I'll look it up, I'll remember. Let me just ask the next question. it was about period poverty,
Yes.
and I wanted to ask you that, like, what are some of the initiatives you think can be implemented to make sure that we eradicate period poverty in South Africa?
I think the first thing that we can start with is at the top, just changing our policies. I know we were a step in the right direction when KZN announced that public schools would give access to free pads in schools, and those pads were branded with the provincial logos and all of that. But that kind of fell through because, corruption. But changing policy, making sure that the government is supplying those pads, because we must not take for granted the fact that we have access to pads and can go into like a ShopRite, Clicks, a Discount to buy a pad. Not everybody has that opportunity or capability. So just make the policies at the top will cause a trickle down for provincial, for municipal, and just for local governments to implement that. I think another thing is just educating our students, our peers, our parents, our brothers, our sisters as well, about what menstrual health and hygiene really is, just advertising it for them. Because yes, what I'm doing is at a small scale, but like it can be translated further. What I'm teaching my little brother he will teach his kids, they will teach their kids. So just creating that ripple effect from the top down.
Yeah, no, I see. Like, some of the questions that people have for you are very interesting questions, And before I go into the next question, I'd like to apologize, because earlier on I said we had load shedding, and I realized that it wasn't load shedding. I don't know what it was, so I apologize to Siri. I apologize. And the next thing they'll be like, why is load shedding only in your area? I apologize. I don't know what. Yeah, because whenever anything switches off, you're like, load shedding. Yeah, I think I had one of those moments myself. So I really apologize, guys. So the next question is, can you share any challenges you faced during your journey in the pageantry industry, and how you overcame them?
Some of the challenges I faced, a lot of blows, and that's made me question myself, my worth. Esteem has gone down because of that. It's not nice receiving a no.
True.
And that's not just exclusive to pageantry, that's exclusive to everywhere. Even if you're going for a job interview and hearing a no, or not even getting a call back, is very disheartening. But I think one way that I've tackled hearing no's is just, okay, no now, but it's not no later, it's not no tomorrow, it's not no next time. That's just an opportunity for me to just refine myself, find a different angle, come up with a better strategy, a different perspective. So that's one thing that I've faced. And also, when you're in a room with beautiful people, you can doubt yourself, because outside beauty is really something that, is easily comparable. You can compare yourself like, oh, guys, my weave is not like this one. Now I feel bad, or I feel, a little bit. But one thing that I try to remind myself, and I don't do it often, I really should, is that it's not just the outside beauty that gets you anywhere in this pageant industry. It's the inside. It's your intelligence. It's your humility, your charisma. Those are things that really differentiate you from everyone, because South African women are beautiful, gorgeous. Like, there's no one woman who is not breathtaking, but the one that will make one woman stand out from the next is her personality. I just need to remind myself that it's not because my eyebrows are unequal. It's because I was just a little bit more soft-spoken this time. I didn't sell myself. I didn't really show myself authentically. So that's how I've overcome some of the challenges.
Okay, it's very nice, very nice, very nice. I wish we could rate. I wish it was possible for us to like rate the conversation online, like the live conversation, because I know we can when the episode is uploaded in all like the DSPs. But then like I so wish that people can like, you know, can interact and like rate. You know, like I wish that, you know, like people can have the same feeling that I have now, and like we can just speak on that. You know, like I really think that, you know, you're one of the people that I'm rooting for to win, alongside yeah, you're one of the 3 people, because like in my mind I'm like, oh, there's only like 3 people, you know, and like I'm between like there's 3, but I know like I have 1 in 3rd place. I'm like, there's a lady by the name of Shimieto Makube. I think that, yeah, she's like 3rd place. But yes, so between you and Avashni, really, I don't know. Like, sincerely, I don't know. I'm like, these 2, like, I don't know who's who. You know, like,
The best
I'm like, yo, I really like, you know, what this is doing, because like these are like my 3 favorite, you know, contestants in the competition, and I'm like, oh, I so wish that, you know, any of the 3 can like take one of the 3 positions. I'll be happy, you know. I'm just struggling with myself, like in the battle with myself, like, who am I putting first between Avashni, really, because Avashni and like Avashni and Motheo, you know. So in the past 3 days, I was like asking myself to say, shit, like, because I never thought there'll be a point where I'm like, because I was like really sold. If you listen, well, the episode is not out yet, but in the episode where I had Avashni, really, I was sold that, you know, like, if anyone can top this, I was sold that there is no one who can top that, you know. And I was like, when I had the interview with you, and I was like, on second thoughts, I think
those
Motheo
are strong contenders. Hey, that group is very, very strong. It's really the cream of the crop. So I get you. No, imagine you're not even your fat and you're struggling.
Bro, I'm like thinking about like the criteria to say, like, which criteria do they have the criteria of how they choose the people? Like, because for me already, I'm like, there's only 3 people, and like for them it's like 1,000, 100 people that enter these things. Imagine like that in that scale, and like, sure, I don't think I could handle that, you know, like I don't think I could handle it. But, you know, I am rooting for you, and I just wanted you to know that, you know, like, one of the 3 people, my 3 favorite people, that I so wish they can win this and take it, because I can see I can see the potential of the change that you can do in our society. And I'm like, yo, I so wish. And I know maybe there might be more, you know, and, you know, I just feel that even though, you know, there might be more, but I'm satisfied with what I have at the moment, you know. I'm like, after this interview, I don't think we can take any other interview. But like, I don't want to be more confused, because I think that with like this thing, just the quarterfinalist, it was like there was more numbers for sure. There was more numbers, with like them being round down to like 54. I was like, okay, that's because I had like 5, 6 women. I was like, hey, these are like the top 6. These are like top 6 for sure, you know. But then with the thing, some of them being eliminated and still keeping a positive mental health space, and I'm like, oh, I really like, you know, the individual, and it wasn't for the competition for them. It's just who they are, you know. They were never in the negative space when they found out they were eliminated from the competition. It's like, okay, we'll just keep on trying the next year. And I'm like, you know, oh, I really like that, and I really like it, you know. And yeah, and I just wanted to add another question that's off topic, but I'll just ask you off air, you know, how much I'll ask off. I'll ask you, but I know I go on and on and on and on. I'll never stop. Like this, So let's just go to an ad break, and I'll keep on asking more questions. Let's meet after this ad break.
No problem. Thank you.
Welcome back to BackRoomConvo with Lesego M. On the line we have Motheo Mokoto. She is Miss World South Africa semi-finalist, and we've had her for about 32 minutes now on the line, asking some of the questions that you have. I know, like, I went off topic a couple of times, but it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, I do know that you guys had a lot of questions. I know that we won't be able to even like ask on all these questions here, but I'll try my best not to go off topic, I'll try my best. So yeah, Motheo, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Hi.
Yeah, I think I'll dive straight into the next question, which is, how do you plan on to use your platform to make a positive impact on the society?
For me, I'm just going to continue doing what I've been doing in my community. Just giving back, educating everyone, destigmatizing menstruation through workshops, just, amplifying what I'm already doing, just taking it to a bigger scale. The one thing that I do want to focus on is destigmatizing menstruation. So destigmatizing menstruation for young girls, young boys, men, women, aunts, uncles, like everyone, just ensuring that, we all have a healthier and more positive perspective of what menstruation really is, and, what the effects of menstruation are. So yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. And by the way, I forgot, and I apologize to all the women in the house. Happy Women's Day. Happy Women's Day. Mara get jumpies, guys. And I told you that I don't like get jumpies. Are like people who date, they don't forget. So yeah, but now I don't date. So like this thing is the least thing I have in my mind. Like it's the least of the things I
get it.
Yeah, so like when it came, they're like, "Hey, bro, you didn't wish her."
There was only.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I'll try and add it in, so and I apologize to you all, the female audience, and to you, Motheo, as well,
Listen, we're not holding it against you. It's okay,
Okay. No, I feel better now, James. I feel better. But going straight into the next question, I almost said the name of the person. Have you had any memorable experiences or encounters during your journey as a pageant contestant?
Yeah. I've just been receiving so much love and so much support from friends, family, like colleagues. It is kind of nerve-wracking sharing these news with like people at work, because potentially when I do win, I am going to leave my job,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think my employer is a little bit, shaky, but still supportive.
Yeah.
The one person I'd like to shout out, because she's been just so instrumental in reminding me how far I've come. These two. It's my best friend, and it's Tlotlo Matladi. I've known her since I was in primary school, and she really just reminded me that I've always been the person that I am, and just everything in my life is kind of coming full circle. And when you're a teenager, you really are far removed from who you are, because you're still trying to figure out who you are, what influences you, what you like, your moral, your ethics. And I'd really forgotten that, I've always been who I am. And that's why friends are so important, guys, because, you keep them forever and they just hold you accountable. And that's really what she's done this entire journey. So yeah, the support, the love, is one of the memorable things that I'm really gonna treasure throughout this entire journey.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Mentioning the what you call this, your best friend. I've never had a best friend my entire life. I've always had friends. And I've always wanted to have a best friend, and they always kept on disappointing me. I'm like, yo, I really hope that you'd be my best friend, and but they didn't live up to the expectations that I had of them, and yeah, I'm coming to that. Can I just finish?
Of course.
So, and I realized that the more I spoke to myself, I was like, well, this is what the society projected what a best friend should be, the expectations, and some of these expectations, I'm like, well, some of these things this guy is not doing, and a big reason why I lost so many friends it was maybe because of that. I was like, oh, the society says the best friend should always have this. There's always that criteria that you put to say a best friend should always be there. But as I grow and mature and I really understand, it's not everyone will always be there, or always be that person, and it's always good to always tend to yourself, to be your own best friend, to find that one friend that you always wanted outside in me. Just make that internally, to say some of these expectations that you expect from people that you want to be best friend, some of the qualities that you can feel yourself, so so I kind of there was a shift of mindset when it came to that. I was like, now I have people that I can say friends, but honestly, the one person that I think is my best friend, I can only say that it's myself. As much as I can talk with people, I can talk with, but the one person I think and appreciate that has held me down for so many years in so many dark and good places is myself. And by doing so, I saved myself from disappointment from other people, from expectation, and when you said that, I was like, oh, it's beautiful for people like yourself who are able to find friends. It's beautiful because I never had any experience with that, because I've always set an expectation and all the people didn't live up to the criteria that I had in mind. And now I just have a lot of people that I couldn't necessarily say of the people that I know and they're friends and friendly, but the one person I could call my best friend, it's me. That's I just wanted to put that. I don't know why, but I had to put it in there because I think it's something that's close to my heart, and I felt like maybe I should share that. Maybe there's someone who's also through that,
I'm glad you said it, because I think I'm just gonna jump in. I think it's really important to be friends with yourself, because that's the one person who knows you properly, and then that's the person that you spend most of your time with. You're alone with your thoughts. You're alone before you go to bed. When you wake up, you're always with yourself. So being friends with yourself is so important, because you can also you learn to be kinder to yourself in the way that you speak about yourself, to yourself, how you interact. So that shift, I think it's really important. And I'm glad you were able to have that shift. A lot of people aren't with themselves, and you see it in how they behave with other people. So, in the future, when you do have friends, you'll be a good friend to other people. So, yeah.
That's why I feel like it's a blessing that people like you, they found those people in their lives. It's really beautiful.
I appreciate those people, so
hope they know that.
I do.
So, this is the next question. I'm so sorry again. I went off topic, but
The conversation is flowing. Let's
yeah, So, how do you stay confident and maintain a positive mindset during the competition?
I'm not always positive and confident. There's a lot of things that I do, but I really try to reel it back in by just reminding myself that I am myself. I can never be anyone else. Even if I did try to imitate somebody, I'll never be able to be them completely. So I just remind myself that, hey, you being you is really just a big win already. So I do that, and also I just try to get what do you call this, inspiration from what other people do. Like Beyonce, she tries to and she's somebody who's really, really confident. So I try to exude that. I don't try to be like Beyonce, but I try to exude that same confidence. Bonang Mateva is also somebody who's really, really confident and is sure of herself. So I try to be sure of what it is that I'm doing, that was sure of what it make sure that the things that I stand up for and speak about, I can always back them up. I'll never be embarrassed about the things came from now. So that's how I just try to reel it back to myself, be confident, and just assure myself.
Beautiful. So what advice would you give to young girls who aspire to participate in the beauty pageants?
Just do it. Just start with whatever you have, wherever you are. Just start, and start with a good intention. Don't start to say I want to win, because winning can only get you so far, because everybody wants to win. So just make sure that your intention when you do start is pure. When I started my last pageant, which was a local pageant in Mafikeng, my intention of being in that pageant was making friends. So I didn't win, but I came out with friends. If you start to build your confidence, just go. You will work hard to make sure that you reap that benefit. But in pageantry, there can only be one winner, or a winner and a runner-up. So a win is never guaranteed. But starting with a good intention, that is always guaranteed. Starting to improve your confidence, to make friends, to empower others, to empower yourself, to just have a basis for community outreach. Those are good intentions to start with, but just start. Just do it. 90 cents best.
Just do it. Just do it. And I think it goes for anything in life. If you really want to do something, you just do it, Just do it.
Just start. Do it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
And this also speaks to, going off topic again, myself, as far as the podcast, I've always wanted to do this podcast thing, but I was always I need this, and I have to have this, And I was listening to Grant Cardone the other day. He was use what you have until what you have brings you what you want.
Exactly. That is powerful.
It's good, that's very powerful. And from then I was I'll just do this, if you welcome back. Do apologize for Motheo's behalf. She received a phone call, hence she was cut out the call, and we still addressing some of the that you guys have. But just to close it up, it's just do it. Everything that you want. Going back to the Grand Cardone thing, he was saying use what you have until what you have gives you what you want. Like starting out in a podcast earlier on, I realized that the first episode, in comparison to what we're recording now, there'll be a huge difference, and in that is growth, it grows. And some of these things you can't really know where like some of the challenges lie if you don't really go, because you wanna like, so go and do that, try and see to say like just improve the 1% each and every time you do that one thing, and eventually you'll get wherever you want to be,
Yeah, that is powerful. Thank you for sharing. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. I feel like we connect on so many levels, and this is like besides this call, because we spoke on Monday, and I was like, damn, like Motheo. And I was like, oh, okay. I was smiling to myself. I was like, oh, okay, it's not just me, and it's good to find someone who can like relate to some of these things that you face, these things that you're going through. You're like, oh, going through, like, you just want to talk about it, and you're like, yeah. So that was me for a moment, Yeah, but moving right back to your questions, guys. The question is, how do you prepare yourself mentally and emotionally for pressure for the competition?
For me, I just like to be in my own space, and this is especially before I go on stage, for example. Just being with myself, because being with people can like distract you, because everybody's saying everything, people are nervous and all of that. So just making sure that I tell myself, I give myself like 5 minutes where I tell myself, hey, you've got this, you're capable of this, because it's really all about the mindset. Hey, if you go nervous, you are bound to mess up because you're going to be nervous, you're going to be overthinking. So just making sure that I clear my mind and I have an intention of what I want to do. If I want to slay like Beyonce on stage, that's what I'm going to tell myself, and I'm going to walk like Beyonce, just channel. And I also think just a little bit of delusion is always good, lying to yourself and saying, hey, you're not nervous, you just didn't eat, or something like that, just to rephrase your mind, because your mind is such a powerful thing, and it can make or break you. So just being able to control it is one way that I try to overcome like any sort of pressure, even if it's not in regards to pageantry. Even in the workplace, even, when I have to have like a really deep conversation, just telling my mind like, hey, this is the intention of this conversation, or the intention of us going on stage, or the intention of, this presentation. So just slay, yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. I think this next question is specifically directed. This is from a woman for sure. I'll ask this question. It says, can you share any beauty or wellness routine that you follow to stay radiant and healthy? Not really for a woman, but no, I don't know, but I'd say that. But
one way that I make sure that I'm mentally healthy, as well as physically healthy, is just exercising, even if it's just for like 30 minutes. Even if it's just a walk or like a run, just to get that serotonin up. They always say that exercise is so beneficial for the mind, and they're not lying. Once you exercise, you feel so good, you feel like you can conquer. So that's one thing that I do. And also another thing that I do is just making sure that I stick to routine, making sure that I have a proper routine that I follow. And that's if it's making breakfast in the morning and then journaling, I will do that. If it is making sure that I do my skincare and read a little bit before bed, I will do that, just to have a little bit of structure. Because again, as an adult, nobody's telling you, hey, you have class at 7, you have break at 10, you have another break at 12. There's no complete structure, but like I give myself that structure so that I feel like, I'm being productive. I am taking those tick boxes, and I'm moving along. So those are just some things that, I practice in my day-to-day life just to, stay consistent. Yeah.
Oh, nice, 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 nice. What are some of the goals and aspiration beyond Miss World South Africa? Well, what are some of the goals and aspiration you have beyond Miss World South Africa competition?
For me, I really just want to be happy, that's just finding joy in each thing that I do. I've started a graphic design course, and some of the things that they wanted from us were like getting paint and like pastels and doing art. So just, that those are simple things. Like drawing is such a simple thing, but it really made me happy. So I've tried to incorporate that. Like every weekend I make sure that I draw, because it speaks to my inner child. Thing that I want is to have like a proper community of people who are like-minded. Whether it's friends, it's family, it's strangers, just having people who I know that, these people will support me, they have my back, and they're not like yes people.
Yeah.
Of mine is expanding my menstrual workshops. I've been doing them at schools back home, but I do want to just expand that a little bit. I've done 2 schools in the past 3 years. I want to expand that, across Mafikeng, across Northwest, with or without Miss World South Africa. That's something that I do myself, and as well as like just expand what my foundation does as a whole, not just speaking to educating people around menstruation and menstrual health, but like ensuring that, we also tackle things like literacy rate, making sure that people know how to read, just bringing back that culture of reading through my foundation, just pouring back into where I come from. That's a big me. And then what else? Yeah, I just want to form like really healthy relationships. I want to be like a healthy, well-rounded person. Not just like romantic relationships, but like also friendships, being a better friend, being a better daughter, a better sister, because community is so important. It holds us down. What else? I want to talk about my career, but like, I don't really know where that's headed, but I do want to climb up the ladder a little bit in terms of my career. I think holistically I've covered every goal. Yeah.
So going off topic again, since you spoke about relationships, I just want to touch that on a bit. So what's your take on traditional gender roles, and how? Yeah.
To be honest, I don't have much of an opinion on gender roles, because I think for the most part, especially where we are now as a society, it hasn't really been working for us, because previously women were not working, and now they're working, so gender roles have kind of had to shift. So there's no, like, if we're speaking about 1950s gender roles where men were at work, women were raising children, we can't really stick to that, because the world has changed, because women are now at work, and some women want children. So I think, if anything, we should just abolish gender roles and just let anybody do whatever it is that they want. Allow them to be accountable for whatever it is that they're doing. One thing I'll touch on, which is like a hot topic, a spicy one, like, deadbeat fathers. If you are having a child with somebody, make sure that you are accountable for that child. You helping in raising that child, you know.
Yeah.
Because if we're saying no, let's stick to 1950s roles where the dad is at work and the mom is at home raising the child. Now we live in a society where both parents are at work, the dad is not present in the child's life. It's just the mom raising. So you see, there's no real gender roles anymore, you know. And if you want to have a child, be present in that child's life. So that's what I mean when I say, like, let's just be acknowledged. Let's just be held accountable for the choices that we made, you know. Let's to them. But yeah, I think that's my opinion. I said I didn't have an opinion.
Dude, yeah, it's surprisingly. And you know, we're going further into this whole, I just want to understand. So in the same aspect of in the same topic of relationship, so like, you know, some people, like, there's a huge rate of like unplanned pregnancies, and this brings me to the question that I have, because you seem like a very goal driven person. And going into some of the relationships, I don't know if you're in one, and I do apologize if, you know, this is a bit insensitive to you, you know, but the question is, like, you seem that you're a very driven person, you know, like, what's your perspective when it comes to, like, how, like, what are you looking for into relationship? So okay, let me just put this into play. I say, okay, I go into relationship to find maybe my husband, or to the person that I go into a relationship with is a person that I see to be a father of my future children, or I go into a relationship for fun, you know. Like, which person are you from the two that I just described now? Are you going for a relationship for fun, or it's like, well, we are not dating for fun, we are moving, we are going forward, and if I'm dating someone, he has to be someone who I see fit, he or she will be a father to my future children?
I'm neither. Personally,
Okay.
I don't want to get married, and I don't want children, and I don't go into a relationship for fun.
Yeah.
Anything when I'm in a relationship, I'm really just trying to have a friendship with somebody. Like, I'm trying to build a friendship before, like, anything else, you know. I want somebody who will hold space for me, just me to be vulnerable and honest, somebody who will see my flaws and not be scared by them, you know, somebody who will push me out of the box. So naturally, I'm not somebody who's like really open about how they're feeling, you know, like if they have like terrible feelings, it will be hard for me to tell you. Let's say, like, you're making me feel bad, it's hard for me to open up about those things. But like, I want to be in a relationship where somebody will push me to want to open up, because that's a safe space, you know, somebody I can have fun with, I can play with, you know. So I think that's my answer. I'm not really looking for, I mean, I do want something that will, like, you know, be long term in terms of like being together for like a couple of years. I'm not looking for something for like, oh, let's date for a couple of months, kiki, and then, because I don't think that's a real relationship. Because even with like friends, you know, for a long time, and you guys get to know each other, and you see each other at different like levels, and you explore different, because you're always evolving as a person, you know. So a relationship where it's just 3 months, that's not really a relationship, you know. That's a situationship. You guys don't really know each other because you can hide so much of yourself. But when you've known somebody for like 3, 4, 10 years, that person really knows different perspectives of who you are. So again, neither, but like, yeah. I hope that answers your question.
No, it does. I just have one more question, but can we still push it for the next 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so I do have. Oh, thank you for that. I do have, but I'll ask some of the questions that I have for you after the break. So we'll meet after that, and I'll ask some of the questions that I had for you. For the people who just joined on the line, we have Motheo Mokoto. She is Miss World South Africa semi-finalist, and we've had her for close to like 1 hour, 2 minutes, 1 hour, 3 minutes, and we're having her for the next 5 to 10 minutes. So stay tuned for that as well.
Thank you. Hello.
Welcome back to BackRoomConvo at Lesego M. On the line, we have Motheo Mokoto. She is Miss World South Africa semi-finalist, and we've had her for the past 1 hour, 5 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. So before we went on the break, we're still touching on some of the issues concerning relationships, and she did answer one of the questions that I had for her, and I do have a follow-up question to the question that I asked her initially. So the question that I wanted to ask you before we went on an ad break was, what happens then when you find yourself in a year relationship or 2 years relationship with that person, and now they decide that maybe now they do want to get married? Happens then? Is that a deal breaker for you?
I mean, that is a hard one, hey.
Because
I communicate from the jump that I'm not looking for marriage or children, and it kind of just filters out people from the get-go. But people are allowed to change their minds, but it's a hard no. I think it would be a deal breaker. I haven't been in a situation like that, but I think it would be a deal breaker because, then you're asking me to change myself, so that, to accommodate to you. So I think it would be a deal breaker. If I didn't say from the jump that, hey, actually, I don't want children, it would be a different story. But I go into the relationship saying, I exclusively do not want children. I love children. I just don't want my own, for other really strange reasons. But yeah, I don't want children. I do not want marriage. And if anyone changes their minds, they're allowed to. It will be sad, but we kind of do have to let that relationship go, because again, I don't want to hold on to people when our wants don't match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you believe in compromise in a relationship?
Yeah, I do. But with things like children and marriage, that's very hard because carrying a baby for 9 months and then that baby is yours the rest of your life, that's a very, very big compromise. I can compromise on date nights and communication styles and love languages and all of that, things that will not impact me long term. But having a child is such a long-term thing that I'm not willing to compromise on. And then as for marriage is just so much paperwork. If I did it because, okay, let me compromise and let's try this out, there's so much paperwork that's gonna go into us getting married and us divorcing. So I think marriage is something that I could compromise on, but children is a big no. I'm not compromising on children.
Yeah, no, I see. So, what influenced that conclusion about marriage and kids? What influenced that decision for you?
With kids, Like I said, kids are such a big investment, from the moment they are conceived, given that I'll be the one carrying the child in the relationship. It's it's such a big commitment, it's such a strain on my body, financially, emotionally, even after the child is born. It's just emotionally taxing raising somebody and raising a whole human being, and this person could turn out and say that the way that I tried my best to raise them was quite triggering for them. It wasn't really best for them. They could have PTSD for the rest of their lives because of what I thought was the best decisions or the best choices at the time. So I really don't want that on me. And also, like with your child, they go out into the world, and you can only shelter them for so long. And the world is not really a nice place. And so much and so many things can influence your child, the school you take them to, the places that you frequent on your own, the university they go to, the friends that they decide to keep. That could really influence their lives for the better, for the worse, and that's just not a coin toss that I'm willing to do. Yeah, the world is not nice, guys. Let's not have children.
No, I see. And on your answer, I did hear you mention PT. You said, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Motheo, can you hear me?
I'm still here. I can hear you.
Okay, no, I can hear you. So earlier on, on your answer, you did mention PTSD as something that is a factor I think it is a factor because you did mention it. Do you think it's a contributing factor though to maybe the mental health the mental health that we're currently facing in South Africa, and maybe why we have a huge unemployment? Look at me saying unemployment rate. Why we have a huge, suicide, people committing suicide, because maybe they can't, support their children. Maybe, do you think maybe it can be a factor to mental health?
I do think so because, our parents have their own traumas that they haven't resolved. They have their own traumas from their own parents and the history of this country, and that's something that they haven't worked through themselves. So they kind of do bring that trauma onto us, and also just lack of education around, how to best deal with some of your traumas, one topic that I always see come up is hitting your children. Hitting your children was a norm back then because, hitting and violence was it has always been a norm. But now that people are saying, if you were hit, you were abused, people, that's a very hard thing for people to come to terms with. Because how was I abused if my parents were hitting me so that I'm a better version of myself? But if anything, your parents could have talked to you and said, hey, actually, if you do this, it leads to, if they talk to you like a human, it could have led to a much better world, a less violent world. But there's just a lot of violence that we have that's unresolved from just our history. So that is one of the factors. And also I think now the reason why you might say that there's a lot of prominence in terms of mental health is because now we have the language for it. Previously we didn't really have the language. The people who had this language were therapists and psychologists and all of that. But now we have access to all of these things and these terms and words. We can admit if you're nervous about something and you keep thinking about it. Now we call that anxiety. We know what it is, like a mental issue. We have words for things, and giving words to something really changes your understanding of what they were. I mean, our parents have been suffering with anxiety and angst and like depression, but we just didn't know what it was. We just thought, oh, Allah doesn't feel like coming out of bed, you know. She'll be fine in a couple of weeks, you know.
Sure.
But yeah, I think that's why it seems like it's more prevalent now. It's because we know what it is. We know what to call it.
Yeah. So like, you know. Yeah. So like, I just want to find out from you, like, what are some of these things that you think we need to implement as a society to make sure that people are aware of like mental health awareness, and you know, because there's people from the rural areas who are not privy to the information that people who are in the cities or the city outskirts, you know. So like, what are some of those?
I think education is just such a great way to share knowledge. The reason why we know of these things is because, you know, we're learning about, I mean, we're not all psychology majors, but we have access to technology that, you know, and social media where you can learn about these things. But like knowledge sharing, education, I think one thing that really worked in the early 2000s in terms of like knowledge sharing when there was like the HIV epidemic was things like animations and TV shows that really spoke about what HIV is and isn't, how to prevent it. You know, things like Soul Baddies, Soul City, you know, those workshops, like school activations, campaigns. I mean, there was so much information that was being shared around things like HIV, where even with mental health, we should reinstate those things, you know. Imagine a kid's show where they tell you, oh, you know, what anxiety is, they explain to you. So now you have not only the word for what anxiety is, but they also give you those tools on how to deal with it on the show, you know. And they're not just teaching their kids, they're also teaching the parents. Same way Soul Buddies was for kids, Soul City was for their parents, you know. It's the knowledge shared across the different ages. So I think we need to have campaigns that really speak to things like that. I think that's when we can tackle it. Yeah.
Thank you for that answer. No, I was thinking about it. I was like, this is actually, you're onto something, you know. You're onto something. Yeah. So yeah, so I will ask you again for another 10 minutes. Because I realized now that, you know, I was asking my questions for the past 12 minutes now. I didn't ask the questions that they have for you, you know. But before we go on to another ad break, can you please, because I see the question and I realized when I was talking to you about modeling and pageantry, I realized that you was talking about them like they were two different things, and I was like, oh, they actually are. You know, can you kindly break that down for someone who's like myself who doesn't know what pageantry is and what modeling is? The difference between pageantry and modeling, you know, in a nutshell.
So this is like very high level. It's not like, you know, the proper terms that I'm going to use, but like one thing is some of the things that you find in like your magazines, and that's commercial modeling, like your ads, and where they're kind of selling you something. They're selling you perfume, clothes, and all of that. And then you get runway modeling where the person is modeling the clothes and they're walking on a ramp. You know, there's very little personality in that, very little interaction with the audience, like you're just walking and showing off the clothes. So that's runway commercial modeling, selling up something to somebody. And then pageantry has more to do with it's a competition, you know. It has more to do with like there's modeling, there's runway, but like you also have interviews in there where you try and check or suss out the personality or something. It has more personality. It's broader in terms of like they ask you questions, you walk in beautiful gowns, you walk in like there's a bikini segment, and it can be anything from like, you know, a heritage pageant where it focuses on like, oh, different cultures, or like a pageant that, you know, has a specific initiative like Miss World, which has the Beauty with a Purpose initiative, Miss Universe, which has like women empowerment, more feminist initiatives surrounding it. So I hope that answers you. Modeling, more like selling you clothes, brands, you know, products. Pageantry, more like trying to find a specific role model for something, you know. Yeah.
No, I hear you. I hear you. So yeah, so the reason I wanted for you to clear that up is because the next question that I am going to ask you has to do with modeling and pageantry. So I wanted you to clear that up before we head on to it. But I'll ask the question when we come back from the break. Well, I didn't hear you answer me. Yeah, are you giving us the 10 minutes?
Of course.
Okay, let's rock. Let's rock. And it's a rock. I'm really enjoying and learning a lot from this conversation. Enjoying myself, you know.
Same.
Yeah. So for people who just joined us on the line, we have the beautiful Motheo Mokoto from originally from Northwest Town. You know, she is Miss World South Africa semi-finalist. You know, kept on making a mistake. Carry got to finalist. I'm sorry. I had to put on some respect.
Sing yourself.
Yeah, it's a semi-finalist, guys. It's a semi-finalist. So let's meet after the break to answer some of the questions that you had, guys. Cheers.
Hello.
Welcome back to Backroom Convos at Lesego M. On the line, we have the beautiful Motheo Mokoto. She is originally from the province Northwest, from Town. She is Miss World South Africa semi-finalist. Semi-finalist. Why are you guys laughing? You know? She's a semi-finalist. For those of you who just joined us, don't forget to go and, you know, subscribe, follow, leave a comment. And, you know, earlier on I did ask you guys if you'd really like us to have a YouTube video podcast. And if you do think that we need to cover YouTube, please let us know in the comment section. Really appreciate that. And now, you know, before we went on the break, we had a question for Motheo about the difference between, you know, modeling and pageantry, and she did clear that up, so we can, you know, ask the question that one of you guys asked. Apologize about that. One of you guys asked. So the question is, Motheo, how has your background in modeling influenced your approach to pageantry?
Wow. How has it influenced? I think because it's two different worlds, when you're modeling, you really do need to try to like hide your personality, really have a straight face when you're walking on the ramp. It's kind of hard coming from like a modeling background, because that's what I started with. I started modeling before I started with pageantry. It's kind of hard because you do want to like, you have that urge to like, you know, just strike a straight face. But like when you're doing the pageantry walk, you need to smile. You need to engage with the audience. You know, you need to make them love you with your smile. So that's been really, really hard. In terms of how it has impacted me, I think going to castings, you get exposed to like a lot of beautiful people, a lot of people who are more talented than you. So it really gives you that thick skin, because in as much as you don't interact with those people for a long time like you would with pageantry, because you do spend like a lot longer, a longer time with the finalists and contestants, it gives you that thick skin to remind yourself, hey, I'm here to do me, I'm bringing me, and that's the best that I can be, you know. So I think that's given me that tough skin to not compare myself, but like, you know, be true to myself, and be confident in what I'm bringing and who I am. I hope that answers you.
I think it does. Can you tell us about any modeling projects or campaigns you have been involved in?
I haven't done like any major ones, but I think the one milk casting that I went to was like a Coca-Cola casting, and it was really, really fun. This was when I was still in Cape Town and I was still a baby, so I was trying to find my feet in the modeling industry. And you know, I will forever treasure this casting. I didn't get called back or anything, but just, you know, having my foot in the door, you know, just being able to cast for Coke was a big assurance and affirmation that, you know what, I'm going places. I haven't done anything major. I've done like local shows in Cape Town. I've worked with a photographer, or by game photographer, photography from home. And, you know, working with him has really just sharpened how I come across on camera, you know, just being comfortable in front of the camera. So nothing major. I'm still trying to break through, but I will.
No, I hear you. So like, what are some of the things you enjoy about modeling?
I enjoy being in front of the camera, but I enjoy walking on the ramp so much more. Like, I spent a lot of my formative years watching America's Next Top Model, and I really made sure that I know how to walk. You know, whatever Tyra was teaching to those girls, I was right there taking down notes, making sure I implement. So that's my favorite thing, like walking on a ramp. I love it. It makes me feel like there's something about the stage that really makes you feel otherworldly. So I love walking the runway.
Okay, no, I hear you. Like the moment I was a bit silent, I was reading a question out. It was a bit silent. So the question, I feel like this is a very interesting question. So, how do you define your personal style both on and off the stage?
I'm still trying to find my personal style. I think for now I just dress for like comfort and whatever makes me feel good at that moment. If it's sweatpants and a hoodie, I'm gonna rock it, and I'm gonna rock it as confidently as I can. So I think that's a very hard question to answer because I don't really have a personal style as yet. You know, just making sure I look good. And that's not really that's one style, you know? So yeah, that's the answer.
Okay, I hear you. How do you, now I'm like asking the questions from them, you know, even though I feel like, hey, I need to, but you know, I have to respect them and, you know, give them but yeah, I have to do that. Even though I have that burning thing inside of me, that question, I have that question for her, but it's fine. So yeah, this is the next question. Are there any specific roles or mentors who have inspired you or and guided you on your journey?
I think my pageant director from the local pageant I did back in Mafikeng, he molded and guided me in terms of my pageantry journey. I started the journey as a model, and I didn't really know how to do the turns, you know, those elaborate turns. And he really made sure that I was in shape. And then other than that, I haven't really found anyone who I'd say I know personally. I'm just kind of, going with the flow, teaching myself, looking towards other people who are not even in the industry, like Beyonce is somebody who I will always reference, because, she's a hard worker and she puts in the work into whatever it is that she's doing, whether it's an album, it's a show, it's a tour. She's putting in like that 150%. So I'm just always researching, and I think that's my mentor. Like the internet, that's my big mentor. Yeah.
I just noticed because you were posting a picture of Beyonce. I was like, oh, okay. I wasn't surprised because, some of the pictures, I was like, oh, okay, it makes sense. Because I'm also a huge fan, like Beyonce fan, I'm doing my shit.
So good. I love Beyonce so much.
Bro.
Yes. But I just say I respect her.
Yeah. So what do you think is the most important quality for a potential Miss World South Africa winner to possess?
No, humility, one thing you really, really need to have, and you need to have it even before you win the title,
Yeah.
You need to be humble. And because one thing about life, it will humble you. Fast. So having humility, even if you're big in this world with a crown and like you have access to all these people, having humility, because that's something that makes you stand out. Like people see that as humble. I think it was Bonang in her show. She said that in her reality show, she said that whenever she walks into a room, she always introduces herself. She's not expecting everybody to know who she is, even though they might. And that's like, a sign of humility. Bonang is huge in South Africa. She still introduces herself. She still has that humility. So I think that's one of the qualities that you really, really need to have as a Miss World.
Yeah. No, thank you for that. Thank you. Appreciate that answer. Next question is, how do you plan to celebrate your accomplishments regardless of the outcome of the competition?
How am I going to celebrate my accomplishment? I usually just pat myself on the back and keep it moving. It's not that great. But the thing about life is it moves so fast,
True.
So you don't really get a chance to properly celebrate. Solo dates, just thanking everybody is another way that I celebrate whatever it is that I've done. Just showing that gratitude, not only to myself, but to people who are behind me is one way. But yeah, I don't do anything fancy, schmancy. I just, I tell myself, you did good, girl. And then I move on to the next thing.
Lastly, what message do you have for your supporters and fans who've been cheering you throughout this journey?
I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. There aren't enough words for me to string in a sentence to express my gratitude for just the love, that keeps me going. That really shows me whatever that I'm doing is not in vain. Win or lose, it's not in vain. I have made people proud. So I'm just glad that I can make somebody proud, and I'm glad the people that I'm making proud, the supporters, my mom, my dad, siblings, friends, girlfriends, just everybody, whoever's rooting for me, I am super grateful for you.
No, thank you for that. Thank you. So for people who want to follow you on social media, can you please drop your social media handles?
Cool. I am at Motheo Mokoto everywhere, formerly known as Twitter, at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. That's where you'll find me, at Motheo Mokoto. Oh, and on
thank you. Oh, on YouTube, I need to check that out. So on YouTube, you have?
I'm on YouTube. I wouldn't say I'm like a content creator, but sometimes I'll like post, a video like once in a while. So
Yeah.
you can subscribe, then you can do that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm heading there now. I'm heading there now. I mean, it was beautiful, man. I'd like to thank you, for joining us in this episode, and given that we almost never had you on the show because he's like, oh, Motheo is not replying, and then it's like, and I felt like, I have to thank you, like, on behalf of the people that, aspire to be in the same position as you are in now. And, for all the young girls. But, like, surprisingly, now I see the numbers are changing as far as, like, demographics of people that listen to the podcast. We have more males that we do females. I'm like, well, pageantry is like, because in the past, I think 3 weeks, we've had more like people who are in the pageantry space. And I'm like, who also are models. And I'm like, oh, why do we have more gents than ladies, And I understood that, typical gents. Yes, like,
so pursuing their pageant careers, because that's also a thing now. Like, men are in pageants.
You think so?
Maybe. I'm speculating here.
Yeah, because I was looking at it, I'm like, how? God, this. Because it's like 50 something percent. And I'm like, 50 something percent gents. And ladies, it's like 40 something, 48. It's almost there, like,
yeah.
Expecting more ladies, to so they can hear some of your experiences as people who are in the space of pageantry and modeling, and I'd hope with like the words, the whatever that you have to say would inspire some of the young girls, that listen to the podcast, But nonetheless, man, it was a pleasure to have you. Almost I think it's almost 2 hours that we spent, and I wish that I could talk more, but we have to let you go. But I appreciate you, and I hope that we still stay in touch even after this call, man, because I'd really like to have people like you in my circle, just to share some of the things that I find interesting, common interest, and hopefully sometime, whenever God opens up for us to have a video podcast, I'd really like to have you as one of the people that I've presented the world to say, like, I wish you can ever listen to this person because she has a lot to offer, and I know, I really wish that, at this point you would have been in a video podcast because you dropped a lot of gems, and, it's just a pity that, we have such a small audience, but then we'll get there, takes that one, get there, that 1% grow each and every time. But, I'd really love to have you, man. I just had to say that,
I really appreciate you having me. Like, it's been such an honor talking to you. 2 hours, the conversation was flowing. Like, that's crazy. Didn't feel like
it didn't, right?
At all. But yeah, I'll be happy to come back anytime. Like, you have my number.
Yeah, cool. Sure. Like, all the best, with your run. I do hope that you take it to the world and you become the queen.
Listen, from your lips to his ears,
to the universe, even. Like, to the universe, even, bro. So yeah, man. All the best. I so wish that people can witness, because I'm so excited about like this episode. I so feel that we can drop it like tomorrow, but this, I'm like, so wish that people can, It's fine, man. So for people, so for people who want to follow us, they can go onto Spotify, it's BackRoomConvo at Lesego M, and on our social media. I'm not big on Instagram or any other social media platform. I just, recently I was told that you need to be there, like, oh, okay. So for people who want to follow us there, it's Lesego M, and it's Lesego_MH everywhere on social media, Lesego_MH. Thank you. Let's meet on another segment of Backroom Convos with Lesego M. We out.
Bye.